Hello everyone, happy Friday and welcome to this week's Student Bulletin. So good to see your names and faces trickling in. Whoops, we don't need that timer yet, do we? No, thank you. So good to see all of you here. We've got Bonnie checking in from Oregon with wet skis. Anya is here from Germany. Renat is also here from Germany, cold and happy to be inside. Sandra is here. Jim is checking in from snowy Colorado. I bet it's beautiful there. We've got John and Karen, Tina and Celeste. Kirsten is here in Sweden. Sherry, Marcel, excellent. It's so good to see all of you. And let's dive right into it. I've got a lot of really awesome art to show you for today, and I can't wait to get started. So we've seen kind of a recent influx of digital art. Lots of people digging into our iPad course at Sketchbook School and making some really cool things digitally. Laura shared this drawing where she actually imported map pages from flight maps. I don't know if she flies or if someone in her family is a pilot, but she shared this really cool image where she drew over top of flight maps as a background layer. And so that is really cool. Oops, it looks like Bonnie meant wet skies, not skis. I mixed that up. I thought Bonnie had just gone skiing. Anyway, sorry about that, Bonnie. Another student, Michelle, has been working in Procreate as well in our iPad course, and this was one of her first drawings. And I think she's really getting the hang of it and using these different values and different brushes. So Michelle, you did a great job with that. And another iPad newbie, Virginia, did this beautiful little shoe on her iPad. And I just love the line quality that she achieved here, and I thought that it turned out really, really nicely. Looks like we've also got Corinne and Holly is checking in and Lydia as well. So good to see all of you. Linda, Kanya is here. Good deal. Ray, Midori, fantastic. So yeah, we've seen a lot of really awesome digital art and keep it coming. I can't wait to see more of that. Kind of on the analog end of things, Ginger actually shared this beautiful watercolor landscape that she was working on at sunset, trying to get that light as it faded. And the reason I wanted to share this, obviously it's a beautiful image, but Ginger shared a little bit about this drawing, this painting, and how she was kind of giving up and the watercolor was not working for her. But she decided before scrapping it and tossing it, she decided to add color pencil over top to see if she could sort of bring any more life out of it. And I think this ended up being a beautiful landscape, adding the color pencil over the watercolor. So Ginger, thank you for sharing that. I'm glad you didn't scrap it because I think this drawing turned out beautifully. Excellent. Another student, Kate, has been doing urban sketching from her car, which I love that idea. It's super safe and you can still see stuff, in your town. And she's actually been drawing Christmas decorations. And she talks about how she doesn't particularly like the inflatables for herself, her own taste, but they do make for good models to draw. So I thought that was kind of a funny take on the inflatable holiday decor. I know that can be pretty polarizing. Some people are very pro-inflatable and some people are purists and do not believe in the inflatable variety of decoration. But regardless of your stance on it, I do like that Kate used this as a drawing model, and I love how it turned out. Nora actually did an exercise as part of Draw With Me this week, and she was also inspired by the book Freehand, which some students in the SkoolYard have been talking a lot about. There's a topic for it if you're interested in that book. But Nora did this exercise where she just used a different tool, as advised by Danny during Draw With Me, to create the same drawing over and over again. So she kind of made this beautiful little pear pattern. And I love how it turned out using these different tools, and each one kind of has their own personality. So Nora, thank you for sharing that. It looks like we've got Linda checking in, Robert is here, Margaret, Devin, Karen, and Anka, and Catherine, Kat. So many other familiar names and faces. It's great to see all of you. And I also want to show you this beautiful painting that Polly did. And this kind of has this like Futura kind of fashion illustration vibe. But I really love these figures that Polly created. And I think that they turned out really great. So I love seeing those. Sorry, it looks like we have someone in the chat that doesn't need to be there. Sorry about that, guys. And then I also want to show you this image from Renat, which is beautiful, and this lovely landscape that she did. And it looks like she did this beautiful scene on the top of a mountain. And I love how this turned out, this landscape. It looks really great. And she said she wanted to make this an oil painting, but ended up doing it as a drawing. And I love what she did with this and the way that it came out. So Renat, thank you for sharing this beautiful sketch with us. Another student, Rock, actually interpreted our weekly drawing prompt that we share on Mondays in the schoolyard. We shared this beautiful snowy owl photograph, and he actually interpreted it a little differently, and I loved it. He actually created this little owl doing some portraiture, some self-portraiture. So I thought this was so charming for Rock to interpret this nature photograph in this way. And I love the way that that turned out. And if you're ever interested in some Monday inspiration, you can check that out in the Draw This group in the schoolyard. So we post a new photo every Monday for you to use kind of as a jumping off point. Now, for those of you that are here, I hope that you brought a sketchbook. What we are going to be drawing today, I don't know, for anyone that recalls, last week I talked about how, the month of December is pretty festive and kind of sticking with that theme each week with a slight variation. So last week we focused on objects that made us think of the holidays. So things that we were kind of nostalgic for Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever holidays you're celebrating. And this week, there might be a little bit of overlap, but I would like to prompt you all to think about one food item. So something edible, whether it's a treat that you often make around the holidays or a meal that you have with your family, but something edible that is your holiday tradition. Or makes you think of the holidays even. It doesn't have to be a holiday tradition, but it can be something that kind of comes around towards the end of the year. For me, it is cinnamon rolls. So every year for Christmas, I make cinnamon rolls so that on Christmas morning we can have cinnamon rolls. It's my favorite thing. And every year I try a different recipe. I have not yet landed on one that is my absolute favorite. So every year it's kind of a fun surprise to try a different way to make cinnamon rolls. So I want you to grab your pen and sketchbook, and I want you to think about what is one food item that makes you think of the holidays, whether it's a drink or, it could be an alcoholic beverage or something that you have at a holiday party. It could be something that you bake every year for someone else, something that you gift to people, or it could just be something in your family that you have as a dinner, as a holiday feast. So whatever that might be for you, I'm going to go ahead and start our timer. And for me, it's definitely cinnamon rolls. So I put this little image up here of cinnamon rolls, which you don't have to use, but if you are looking for reference, this scrumptious looking cinnamon roll is what I am gravitating towards. So I'm going to grab a big, thick, juicy pen and go to town on this cinnamon roll. But I want you to just think of something, and you can share it in the chat too. Think of something that is edible or drinkable that makes you think about the holidays. So what is it about the holiday season that maybe it's a certain taste or a smell, but what food item really gets you kind of in holiday mode? And that's what we're going to kind of go with. And I mean, for me, I feel like, the holidays are, the holidays are definitely a time for feasting and spending time with family and eating all sorts of yummy snacks. So that is what I'm going for with this. And even if the holidays are going to kind of look a little bit different this year, maybe we won't be able to see our family or as much of our family as we used to, we can still, have these treats on hand at home. And these are things that we can still enjoy. Donette is saying it's making them hungry, which is, yes, it's also giving me a little rumble in my stomach as well. But think of something that, maybe screams holidays to you when it comes to something edible. Catherine is saying so many carbs and that she has a cinnamon roll recipe from her mother. Oh, that sounds great, Catherine. I would love to get my hands on that. Definitely. But yeah, so this is what I'm focusing on. But I'm curious what other food items, kind of represent the holidays for you guys. Is there a certain beverage or I know one of my friends is really into mulled wine and mulled cider, which is super yummy. But are there any other kind of meals that make you guys really think of the holidays? Because I think food is one of my favorite holiday memories. Really good things to snack on, and by the end of December you're kind of done with sugar and can start January off fresh, eat a bunch of salads. That's usually what I do. But yeah, I'm going to focus on sweets and sugar for my holiday snack. But I'm curious what everyone else gets into in the holidays. I always love hearing about people from all over the world that might have a different food tradition that maybe I'm not familiar with here in the United States. So sometimes it could be something a little different, which is fun. But for me, it's definitely cinnamon rolls. And yeah, that's just something that I am really into in the holiday season. Some people get really into cookies too, baking cookies and having all sorts of cookie swaps and exchanges, which again might be kind of hard. Yeah, Sandra's mentioning gingerbread cookies, definitely. But yeah, Catherine mentions making an illustrated recipe, and I think that's a perfect way to kind of commemorate, your holiday food tradition. I love that idea. And maybe even making that a card that you send out to family if you're not able to hang out with them this year. That's a good idea. For me, I think the cinnamon roll recipes are pretty complicated. They usually involve like multiple days of dough and resting and rising and all that. So that would be probably like a 3-page recipe on my part. Kat is mentioning pomegranates. Yeah, I know actually Danny has a big pomegranate tree in his yard, so he can just like pluck them off the tree, which is so cool. And I always think of pomegranate seeds as something really festive looking with that ruby red color. So that's a great idea. Depending on where you're at, that might be something that you have access to. Holly is mentioning homemade candy, cookies, and bread. Yes, all the carbs. I'm totally here for that. Definitely. And I got through a little tiny cinnamon roll that I want to add some color to later, but I hope that you all were able to do some drawing. You've got great ideas. It looks like Lydia's talking about tamales, apple bread, and peanut butter cookies. All of that is making me very hungry. It sounds very delicious, Lydia. But thank you all for tuning in today and joining me on this Friday for our student bulletin. I hope that you have an awesome weekend, and in future Fridays we'll be doing some more holiday related stuff. So get excited for that, and I hope that we'll see you around the schoolyard. And I definitely want to see your food items. So share them in the schoolyard using the student bulletin topic, or you can share them on social media and tag Sketchbook School. And I look forward to seeing what you guys are all cooking up and baking up this holiday season. It's my favorite part of the holidays. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your weekend.